Tensions escalate as Hezbollah launches rocket attack on Israeli-annexed Golan Heights on Wednesday. Lebanon's Hezbollah launched over 50 rockets, striking several private homes in the Israeli-annexed Golan Heights. The assault is part of an escalating conflict in the region, with Hezbollah declaring that the attack was in retaliation for an Israeli airstrike deep into Lebanon on Tuesday night. The rocket attack by Hezbollah is just one of the many recent signs that the conflict between Israel and Hamas could expand into a wider regional war. Diplomatic efforts are intensifying as world leaders scramble to prevent further escalation. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has been heavily involved in these efforts, meeting with mediators from Egypt and Qatar in an attempt to broker a ceasefire. Blinken hinted at progress, suggesting that Israel had agreed to a bridging deal that could pave the way for a ceasefire. However, skepticism abounds. Egyptian officials familiar with the negotiations expressed doubts about the feasibility of the deal, citing concerns over Israel's willingness to fully withdraw its forces from Gaza and cease military operations. One Egyptian official described the proposal as offering only promises, rather than concrete guarantees, which he believes Hamas will not accept. According to him, the deal's first phase requires Hamas to release the most vulnerable Israeli hostages in exchange for a 6-week pause in fighting, without any guarantees of a permanent ceasefire. The skepticism from Egypt reflects the larger uncertainties that have plagued ceasefire negotiations in the region. The proposed deal, which also involves Israel potentially downsizing its forces in the Philadelphia corridor along Gaza's border with Egypt, falls short of meeting the demands from both Hamas and the mediators. The conflict, which began with Hamas' October 7 attacks that killed over 1,200 people, mostly civilians, has resulted in a devastating humanitarian crisis. Gaza's health ministry reports that over 40,000 Palestinians have been killed in Israel's retaliatory offensive. The war has caused widespread destruction, displacing the majority of Gaza's 2.3 million residents. As the situation intensifies, the prospects of a ceasefire seem increasingly uncertain, with diplomatic efforts facing significant hurdles. The evolving ceasefire deal proposed by the U.S. involves a 3-phase process: the release of hostages by Hamas, Israeli withdrawal from Gaza, and the release of Palestinian prisoners. However, the lack of trust between the parties and the absence of solid guarantees make the road to peace fraught with challenges. As the conflict continues, the international community remains on high alert, fearing that the violence could spiral into a broader regional war.